Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from home. I'm home, but I'm not going to be here for long. I'm actually leaving today. Headed out. We're going, me and Jen, currently in the process of packing the car, and we're going to be driving up near us. Going to be staying near Salem, Massachusetts for a week. The plan is to be in Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween Day. You often heard that Halloween Day in Salem is like Mardi Gras and Halloween combined. And I've been to Salem. I went to Salem in October. And it was fun, but I was told, no, you don't understand. You've got to go to Salem on Halloween, not Halloween time. Modern times, Halloween is from July 31st until October 31st. But when they say you got to go to Salem on Halloween, they mean you need to go to Salem on October 31st. And so this year, kind of been a bucket list item. So this year, I was earlier in the year, I think probably around spring or summertime, I'm like, what if I went to Salem for Halloween this year? Something I always wanted to do, something I always wanted to experience. And I did some hotel shopping, and I found something reasonable, not paying an excessive amount, but I'm paying really more than I normally would for a hotel room. So I got really excited. Booked the hotel. Going to be there in that area, the general area, for about a week. Planning on doing some fun, spooky stuff while I'm there. But most importantly, planning on being in Salem on October 31st to witness the madness that is Halloween in Salem. Now, if you watch this channel, you've probably figured out I like Halloween. I like Halloween time. It's a big deal here on the channel. We do a lot of Halloween events. We do a lot of haunted houses, or haunts, as I like to call them. And you might be interested to know that I didn't always like Halloween. Now, my birthday is October 26th, so very close to Halloween. In fact, I'm going to be on this trip. I'll be in Salem area on my birthday, which is kind of cool. It's kind of a fun birthday trip in a way. But even though growing up, having a Halloween adjacent birthday, I really did not love the holiday. I was a Christmas kid. I was full Christmas. I waited all year for Christmas. Christmas was what I looked forward to all year. Loved the Christmas time. Loved being around family. Loved Santa. Loved just everything. All the trappings of Christmas. I really, really loved. Now, I think I liked trick-or-treating as a kid, but, it was a fun night out. And I think I mostly liked the hoard of candy that I got in a bag. It was always fun deciding what, as a kid, what you're going to be for, what you're going to dress as for Halloween. But for the most part, definitely the spooky aspects of it, I did not like. I remember, this is such a silly story, but my mom got me this birthday cake one year, and it was an awesome birthday cake. It was orange and black. It had plastic monsters and spooky things on it, like spiders and pumpkins, and it was an awesome cake. Probably the coolest cake, one of the coolest cakes I ever had for my birthday. But I saw it and I'm like, that's a Halloween cake. It's my birthday. It's not Halloween. And as a selfish, spoiled little kid, I remember being it stuck in my craw. I wanted a birthday cake about me. It's my birthday, not Halloween. In retrospect, it was such an awesome cake. I can't believe I didn't appreciate it. But yeah, for someone that had their birthday around Halloween, I was terrified. So I was terrified. I was terrified of haunted houses. I was terrified of scary movies. Like I said, I like trick-or-treating, but like, you go out there and it'd be spooky, you see a creepy house, you're like, maybe I don't want to go trick-or-treating there because it looks scary. I don't want to go there. There's like, maybe it's too dark in the yard or something, or especially if they had like some sort of scary decoration or something. Like, I can't imagine now, like if I was a kid now, like this sort of horrifying decorations that people put up of blood and guts, like I would run the opposite direction. And I always talk about this is one of the great ironies of this YouTube channel is like some of the things that I love now and that I focus on now are things that really just terrified me when I was a kid. I was afraid of haunted houses, terrified of haunted houses. I didn't like dark rides. I told the whole story on this channel before of absolutely being filled with dread when I was in first grade, knowing we were going to Disney World because I didn't want to ride the Haunted Mansion. I was so scared that I literally was like wanting to get out of the trip somehow. Now the Haunted Mansion, literally one of my favorite things on planet Earth. Dark rides, one of my favorite things on planet Earth. Something I would have never gone on as a kid growing up. Even other things like taxidermy, wax figures, things that I feature constantly in these videos. There's a wax figure right behind me right now. I was terrified as a kid. I didn't when I went to clothes shopping with my mom, I didn't like the store mannequins. They gave me the creeps. And so it's interesting kind of how this YouTube channel, I've turned all that around. Like things that terrified me as a kid are all the things that I focus on now. I'm sure some psychologists could have a field day with that. So yeah, grew up not loving Halloween, not liking scary things, hating scary stuff. I would walk in when my stepdad at the time was watching scary movies on TV, and I would see like one thing and I wouldn't sleep for a month. Like I was scared. I remember walking in on, he was watching Poltergeist, and I walked in on that, and like literally like for years I remember the freaking clown that comes to life. Like I couldn't deal with it. Like I knew my sister's room next door had dolls in it, and I was afraid that the dolls would come to life. That was one of my big fears as a kid, is dolls coming to life. Like a talking doll, like moving on its own or talking. I think that was like one of my biggest fears. One of my biggest fears growing up was talking dolls. So like, yeah, stuff like Chucky or Annabelle would like be the worst, like scariest things to me. Robert the Doll. I think I have. Yeah, I have a freaking Robert the Doll plushie right here. This is a real life living doll, a replica of it. So this was something that like I couldn't even like wrap my brain around. Like if I was a kid and I went to see Robert the Doll, I wouldn't enter the room. I wouldn't be able to go in the room with him. Like I said with Haunted Mansion, the first time I rode Haunted Mansion, I rode with my fingers over my eyes and my thumbs in my ears because I was so scared. So I've come a long way in these 44 years of mine. But there would be a turning point. There would be a turning point where I would fall in love with the holiday of Halloween. I know a lot of people always talked about Halloween being their favorite. I just didn't get it. But now I do, because Halloween time is now my favorite time of the year, and kind of went through a transition. But let's go for a walk. And speaking of Halloween, this year marks the first time that I got my 12-foot tall Home Depot skeleton erected outside. Bought him 2 years ago at a Home Depot in New York City. And the first year we had him, Jen was living in an apartment building, so we could not put him outside. So we cut him off right about there, took his legs off and leaned him up against the sliding glass window. I don't know, because it's daytime, so it's hard to see, but he actually has moving eyes. So when you drove up at night, you could see him and his eyes looking through the window. And then the next year, we were in the process of moving Jen from here. I was actually in the process of moving back in to my house, and Jen was in the process of packing up and joining me. So ended up moving the skeleton here when I was moving back in. I did try to set him up inside the house. As you can see here, he's way too tall to be in there. I actually almost got him up. There's a high point in my living room. I was able to get him in there up to his neck, but I could not get his head on, so I had to put him back down in the basement. But finally, everything's in place, and we got the skeleton proudly standing here on the front porch for the very first time. See some smaller skeletons here. They're actually wearing Burger King crowns. Jen did a video on her channel, Jenny Penny, where she reviewed the Purple Whopper, the Purple Addams Family Whopper. She got the crowns here for the skeletons. Yeah, nice to have some decorations up for Halloween. We didn't go all out, but got the skeletons out at least. See the leaves looking really pretty today. Well, I was gonna go for a walk here at the park, but it looks like they have the parking lot closed off. I don't think they want anyone over here now. You can see this is all still debris from the hurricane, still in the process of cleaning up. Yeah, it looks like they've gutted the park. There you see, yeah, all the playground equipment over there is gone. Yikes! I hope they can reinstall it. But yeah, the park here is closed for business. We'll go find somewhere else to walk. Came down to the other end of the park here, where it does look like the trail is open, although you can see here this big pile of debris here from the hurricane, from Hurricane Helene. Yeah, okay, this is the destroyed baseball park over there, the baseball diamond. It's been completely destroyed, and that's like just all the fencing and bleachers and everything just dragged out here while they're cleaning up. So one hallmark of this channel during the Halloween season is visit a lot of haunted houses, haunted attractions, theme park, haunted Halloween events. And growing up, I did not have much experience with haunted houses. As I said, the Haunted Mansion was the closest I ever went to actually going in a haunted house at Magic Kingdom, and I was closed my eyes the entire time because I was so terrified. And I'm trying to think back to maybe the first time I went through a walk-through haunted attraction, and I believe this was the early 2000s. I was an adult, and my ex-wife Christy went with her friend, and my son James, and this was actually before we had dated, before we got married, and we all went in together. I was so scared. I remember standing in line, like, why am I doing this? Why did I go here? I was a little curious because I'd never done it before. I'd never been in a haunt. Didn't know what it looked like inside. I was curious about that, but I was like, man, like I just don't like the idea of people jumping out in the dark, people, you know, just lunging at me, not knowing what's going on. And I've explained this before on the channel, like my fear of haunted houses. Like, I am not afraid. I don't think that monsters are real. Well, I don't think the monsters inside a haunted house are real. Let me just put that. I'm not afraid that I'm going to be murdered. I'm not afraid someone's going to stab me. I'm not afraid someone's going to take my soul. But just as someone suffers anxiety, especially like just the unknown, just knowing that someone could pop out at any time, that is like on edge. Like sometimes the parts of haunted houses I get the most nervous now is when it gets quiet. It's that anticipation, that build to something terrifying happening. That is truly unsettling. Kind of like the drop tower effect. Like when you go up to a drop tower, the dropping isn't the worst part. The waiting for the drop, the waiting, sitting there waiting, not knowing when it's going to drop, and then that click, and boom, that one moment when it starts to drop, that's the most terrifying, because it's like the anticipation, the build up to something horrible happening, and then it happens. So that's kind of my fear of the haunted house. But anyways, we went to this haunted house. It was in Otto, North Carolina. It was in the old Otto school, so it built in an old elementary school. And it probably is, it was fairly standard. They used like the school environment, but they had, people in masks. They had that like spooky scenes play out. They had, jump scares aplenty. And I was terrified. I was just breathing, just trying to remind myself, like, it's okay, nothing's gonna happen. Again, you're gonna be safe. Nothing's bad's gonna happen, but it's just like your instinct kicks in. Your like survival instinct knows that being in dark places is dangerous. Things jumping out at you is dangerous. So you got your mind working against you, your instincts working against you. And I was trying, holding it in, trying the best to get through it. And little James he was terrified, but he went in. And James is, he's always liked stuff like that. He's always liked spooky stuff. And, but he went in to the house, but he was, as it went through, as the scares kept coming, he was getting more and more intense, more and more scared. Like, I don't know if I want to be in here. And I remember there was a scene. We walked into the gym of the old school, and there was a guillotine scene where they had a guillotine set up, and it came down, and then there was like a head that got chopped off, and then the head rolled across the gym floor, and the head actually rolled across the floor and touched James's foot. And James was like, I want out. I'm done. And, Christy and her friend were enjoying the haunt, and I saw this. Oh, sorry, the lawnmower just got fired up there. Let's get away from the lawnmower. So James was terrified. A severed head had touched him on the foot, and I saw this as my escape route, my opportunity to get out of there. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take him out. I'll grab him, and we'll head out. So, I forget the process, but we got attention of someone, and told them we wanted out, and they escorted us outside, and I was so relieved. I was like, oh, I'm so glad we got out of there. I was like, I don't think I ever want to do that again. And so my next experience, and I do remember this pretty vividly. Well, so my next experience was, we went on a trip to New York City, and went with my dad and my brothers to New York City. And we went, now there's like a really loud helicopter. Huh. Don't know what helicopter that is. Anyways, me and my dad and my brothers went to New York City. And of course, I wasn't making videos at the time, but I was taking a lot of photos, and I was really interested. I was already like really interested in roadside attractions and things like that. So I had it on my list. I wanted to go to Madame Tussauds in Times Square. And my family agreed. They didn't want to do everything I did. I had to do some stuff alone, but they agreed they would do Madame Tussauds with me. And we got up in Madame Tussauds, New York, and it's not there anymore, but they used to have a walk-through haunt. It's like a helicopter just circling, making lots of noise. They had a walk-through haunted attraction in Madame Tussauds. So I was like, man, I'm scared, but I should probably do this. I want to see it. I want to, maybe take some pictures in here. So me and my dad went through. My brother that went with us, he didn't want to go through, so he went to the other side. Jack went to the other side, and we went through. And as soon as I stepped through those doors, as soon as I stepped through the entrance into the haunt, I immediately regretted it, and I started having an absolute panic attack. I grabbed my dad. I was behind my dad. I grabbed him. Okay, but keep in mind, I'm a full-grown man. I'm a full-grown man at this point. I'm in my late 20s, early 30s. I grab my dad by the collar, hold on as tight as I can, and start screaming. Ah, ah, like screaming at my, you know, my dad thinks this is hilarious. You got to know my dad. My dad thinks this is hilarious. I can hear my dad cracking up as I'm practically strangling him, and I'm screaming, ah, ah. I think I was screaming so loud. I think I actually was screaming so loud so I was trying to like block out everything, like scream so loud that I couldn't hear anything. Just absolutely had a total meltdown. Actually did worse than I did the first time. I think it was something where I didn't want to do it. I made myself do it and then like immediately just wanted out. So I was screaming. We were walking. I'm strangling my dad. He's laughing, and we're walking through the haunt. And we come out the other side. Jack's waiting for us, and he's like, "Wait a minute, that was you screaming that entire time?" My dad's laughing, and I finally like came to, and I was like, "Well, what was it like? Was it scary?" Because I literally did not see it. I did not experience one jump scare. I did not see one bit of theming. I did not hear a spooky noise. I immediately melted down and blocked everything out. And my dad said, "No, they weren't trying to scare us. They looked concerned." So I was so freaked out. I was having such a screaming meltdown that the scare actors were concerned for my safety and well-being enough where they just backed up. I think my dad said that like someone like stepped towards us and then kind of like, whoa, just like backed off. So yeah, and by the way, like that story, like I remember my dad one time, he called me when I started doing the haunt videos and I was totally scared, and he called me up. He's like, "You know, I would think you were faking these screams if I hadn't seen it firsthand myself." So yeah, in those early haunt videos where I'm losing my mind and screaming, those are 100% genuine. I got accused a lot of people thinking I was overacting or playing it up, but no, I was legitimately that scared. Again, it's the anxiety. It's not that I think haunts are real. Not that I think that I'm going to be murdered. Not that I think I'm going to have my soul stolen. It's that that I really just thought that they were that scary. So, years go by, and you know, I have like this interest that's still kind of bubbling below the surface. You know, I love the concept of a haunted attraction in some ways. And most of that goes to like the set design, the artistry. You know, once I faced my fears and started doing dark rides, I love the theming, love going through an immersive dark ride. And, you know, I'm like, well, you know, a haunted house is kind of like a dark ride, kind of like going through the haunted mansion, but just on foot. And of course, I was a big fan of like the big crazy animatronics. I thought those were cool. And I just wanted to see this stuff. I wanted to see it. I didn't want to be scared, but I wanted to see it. So, and then I found out, you know, most haunted houses don't allow you to take pictures. They don't allow you to film. So at this point, I'm making videos. And I did a few. I touched on it briefly in a few occasions. I went through a haunted corn maze that they have over in Canton, North Carolina. God, I don't know if that's there anymore after the hurricane, but they used to go every year to the haunted corn maze. I would scream my way through the maze. James, by the way, kept going to haunted houses. He liked it. That experience didn't ruin him. He loved going to haunts. So I also got invited to a haunted house in a church in Cullowhee. These were really terrifying experience, but I had that interest bubbling. And then my friend Tristan, who at the time worked at a haunt in Alabama called Archbortis, which I just visited a week or so ago, he invited me out. And this is a full-scale, professional haunted attraction, a very good haunted attraction, a very well themed haunted attraction. And he told me that he would let me film out there whatever I wanted. So I showed up. He walked me through the haunt, and like literally in the empty haunt, I was still getting scared. Of like the animatronics would go off and I would just lose my mind. You can go watch the video and see it happen in real time. And then later in the evening, I was going to go through the haunt and film, and I was excited about the opportunity, but once it got to it, I couldn't do it. I couldn't go by myself, and so I actually sent a scare actor with me. And the scare actor, this is actually like a legendary thing now at the haunt. The scare actor played this gravedigger, and at one point, he dropped his shovel on accident. So he was just walking along with me, just kind of keeping an eye on me. Just, he was actually stayed in character, but like didn't try to scare me, and was just kind of there, as I'm watching over you. And he at one point dropped his shovel. I think he just accidentally dropped it, and it made a clink noise, and I screamed, "Ah!" And he's like, "Sorry, it's just a rogue shovel." So still to this day, when I go to Archmortis, they tease me about the rogue shovel. But yeah, that really opened up a lot of opportunities. Tristan allowing me to do that and to film really helped me be able to convince other haunts to allow me to film. And Tristan, by the way, went on to do some really great things. He managed the Mysterious Mansion in Gatlinburg for a period of time. He managed 13th floor haunted house in Jacksonville, Florida for a time. He's worked on countless haunts across the country. He has done some work for the big major theme park haunts. So his career just absolutely flourished, and created a good friendship with him. And yeah, it kind of went from there. With that footage from Archmortis, got to be able to show other haunted houses how I filmed, and got a lot of people that let me film at their haunted houses that didn't normally let people film. And I feel like in some ways I help open some people's eyes to allowing vloggers and whatnot to come to their haunts, to show off their haunts in a certain way that's not negative towards the haunt, doesn't ruin too much of the scares. Yeah, but I think, and again, those early haunt videos are absolutely ludicrous in the level of fear and the level of terrifiedness that I had in them. And I do feel, if you watch my haunt videos progress over the years, it has grown from like beginning of just being absolutely terrified where I could hardly wrap my brain around what was happening, to now, finally, my original goal was to see the insides of these haunts and to appreciate the artistry. So now, at this point, I do get scared. I do get startled still. I still get really scared at some points. But I am able to look out onto the haunts and observe the artistry that goes into them. That's the thing I was originally interested in. And I've actually, traveling around visiting these haunts. I started going to Trans World Haunted Attraction Show, which is kind of the biggest trade show when it comes to the haunt industry. And let me just tell you something. Doing these videos, doing this YouTube channel, I have come across different, I don't know if I want to say subcultures, but different groups, different fandoms, different circles of people, and the haunters. The haunters that I've met through going to haunted houses, through going to Trans World. Just some of the nicest, most inviting people. Just been how the haunt community has, for the most part, embraced what I'm doing and has invited me out and has been so kind and accommodating to me. It's just great. I love the haunt community,
and just such good people. And a lot of these haunts, you really see a lot of positive stuff come out of these haunts. I'm sure there's people out there that, make judgments on people that work in the macabre. Some people don't believe in Halloween. Some people don't believe in like spookiness or haunted houses or showing blood or skeletons and things like that. But you meet a wide variety of people doing these haunted houses. They all share a passion for doing the haunts, but there's different people. There's people that are deeply Christian, deeply religious, that do these haunted houses because they know it's for fun, it's for show. It's it's an art form. It has nothing to do with any sort of real life religion or real life code or set of beliefs. So you find just haunt people of every walk of life, but the one thing they do share is that love for their craft, love of what they do, and it's been a genuinely great community. In a lot of communities you might see a lot of competition. You go to Trans World, all these different people own all these different haunts, and for the most part, you would think these are competing business owners. They're competing for people's dollars, they're competing for people's business, but it doesn't feel that way. They're supportive of each other as a community, respectful of the art form, and respectful of the community. So you just see a lot of people helping each other out in ways that maybe they don't need to or they don't have to, but it's just that sense of community in the haunt community. And even on like the entry level, you see a lot of positivity in the community. A lot of haunt kids, a lot of people that work at haunts or work as scare actors or start out. I wouldn't say most or the majority, but a portion of them have social anxiety like I do, and I think haunting gives people a community that they may not have already had. You just see these very strong friendships, these very strong bonds formed between people in the haunt industry, and I think the haunt industry gives a lot of those people an outlet for the creativity they may not have had before, and lets them develop and blossom. You see people like that develop their characters, and they craft that character, and I see some people that maybe through their character have helped understand themselves better in other ways. You have that freedom of expression when you're in character, that maybe you can find out more about yourself in that way, if that makes sense. If that makes sense to people. And also I've seen, like, in the haunt industry, people that dedicate their time and volunteer at the haunt industry, like a lot of people learn skills and things. People that work in haunts, they learn, suddenly they learn how to be a carpenter because they need to make sets. They learn how to work electronics because they got to fix animatronics. So they end up being these like highly skilled individuals when all they wanted to do was have some fun and scare people with their friends. So yeah, I have a lot of respect and a great deal of love for the haunt industry, for the actors, the scare actors, the makeup artists, the people that build the sets, the people that scare, all the way to the top. I think it's a wonderful industry. But now, let me talk about what I don't like. And this may be my grumpy old man coming out. As I've said, I have a great deal of respect and love for the people in the haunt industry. And what I hate to see is to see them and their work disrespected. I made some comments in a video, and some people agree with me, some people disagree. That's fine, either way. I noticed one thing in haunts. People that have to touch everything. People pulling on props. People, just putting their hands all over things. And like I said in my video, it's the principle of, you go out in nature, you go to the national park, you go to a forest, you can't like pick a flower or pick a plant and take it home. It doesn't even in the grand scheme of things, you doing that one act does not mean a lot. But when every single person does it, when crowds of people do it, you end up with no forest. And if everyone does that to a haunt, you end up with no haunt. Haunts go through a lot of people in a night, and just being in the trenches, being in the haunts, I just see so much abuse to the physical haunts. There's like something that people can reach, and something that you see, like someone reach out, pull on it. The next person comes up, pulls on it, and they always tell you don't touch the props. This is why they tell you don't touch the props, because that quickly destroys the props. Haunts take an immense amount of damage. I've heard multiple people tell me, like, animatronics in a haunt, like for one animatronic to go a full season is almost unheard of without repair. For all the animatronics in a haunt to go through the entire night without something happening to one of them is unheard of. There's just it is a labor-intensive industry, and people pour their hearts into this. They spend all year building this. They pour their love, their blood, their sweat, and their tears into something, and then to have it just destroyed for no reason. I don't like that. And this, by the way, is not just exclusive to haunts as far as like the touching. And you see all the museums, they don't touch this, don't touch this, don't touch this. And you're like, oh, why don't they want us to touch anything? But I go to a lot of museums, and I remember watching, there was like, I think it was like a dinosaur horn or something sticking up. Not like a real dinosaur, but like, like a fiberglass dinosaur, a model of a dinosaur. And every person that walked by, like, grabbed it and tugged on it. Like, and then, stuff like that gets broke. You always see in museums. Anything that's like touchable is broken. And just people, and you know what? I'm not even going to say I don't understand it, because like I understand, like, we're creatures, we're learning, we want to touch things, we want to be tactile. Like, I understand that urge, and I'm not even going to say that I've never like reached out and touched something that I wasn't supposed to, not thinking. It's a really easy mistake to make, but you just realize that the immense amount of people touching something is just very, very destructive, and it limits what they could do in haunts, and it affects the haunt for everyone. So just take care, appreciate what there is, and just try to leave it the same as you saw it. What do they say? Take only pictures, leave only footsteps. I think that is a good rule to live by when it comes to visiting attractions, visiting haunts. And the other thing, again, a great respect for the people in the haunt industry, and I get really confused. Again, I'm in the trenches. I'm in the crowds. I'm in the lines. I'm in the haunts with people. And you hear some of the dumbest stuff that people say. Like, you get people out there that are like, if someone tries to jump out and scare me, I'm gonna knock them out. Like, people don't, like, I think some people do not understand what a haunted attraction is. You pay money to get into a haunted attraction. You are paying money for them to jump out and scare you. Any sort of act of violence toward a haunt actor is a crime. And because they scared you in a haunted house is not an excuse. I've heard people say before, oh, well, I just reacted. Someone jumped out and I just swung on them because my reaction, it doesn't, no, tough guy. That's not okay. If you hit somebody, you should go to jail, because that is assault. I've heard horror stories from people in the haunt industry. I've heard, young girls talk about being kicked in the face, just rotten stuff. And from what I understand, talking to people in the haunt industry, the whole, I reacted, it wasn't my fault because someone jumped at me and I just did it. Like, that's a cover story. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened or that hasn't occurred, that someone did that because they were so scared. It's not, it's not self-defense. It's not okay. But it's possible that has happened. But what's more likely happening is someone wants to hit somebody, someone wants to get in a fight, and then they use that as an excuse to attack someone. It happens all the time in haunted houses where someone comes in, intentionally wanting to start a fight with someone, and that is rotten. That is assault. It's a crime, and to attack someone while they're doing their job to try to entertain you is uncalled for, unforgivable, and it's absolutely disgusting. And what I say, just have a good time. Like, have a good time. You get, and I guess it's kind of funny when you think about it. This one isn't as bad as it is just kind of comical, but like, I think a lot, especially like teenage people, kind of see like a haunted house as a opportunity to show off in front of their friends, and you get a lot of that tough talk. Oh yeah, someone better not. And you see them like even like hitting is one thing, but even like trash talking or like, you don't scare me, blah blah blah, f you. Like, that's like, you're trying to show you're tough. You're not tough. You're not tough. You are paying someone to scare you and then threatening them for scaring you. Like, it's not okay. You hear people in line like, oh yeah, no one can scare me. It's just like, and it's okay. Like, I guess if you would have used a haunt to show your girlfriend that you're not scared of skeletons, then more power to you. Just be respectful to the actors. And you know what? It's okay. I think people, you see a lot where people like try to mock the scare actors a lot, and I don't like it, but I guess it comes with the territory. And I think some people mock the scare actors to try to convince them, like, they are scared, so they're mocking the scare actors to make them seem less threatening for themselves. I don't have a problem with that. And I think it's okay to get in there. It's okay to let loose. It's okay to let yourself be scared, because that's part of the experience. You're paying people to scare you. That's like rule number one of what a haunt is. You are paying people to scare you. So don't get mad when you get too scared. I've heard people complain. People complain at haunted houses that they get scared. Like, literally, that's like going into a restaurant, ordering a hamburger, and complaining that you received a hamburger. If you got scared out of your mind in a haunted house, they did their job. And yeah, so but what I say, I think it's okay to laugh. I think it's okay to have fun. I think it's okay to have a reaction. Laugh. I laugh sometimes, and it's not out of disrespect. It's out of just like the nervous laughter, plus just like the craziness of the whole situation. But I just have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for those actors, and I don't ever want to think that I'm mocking them or anything in that way. I did talk about like being physical in a haunt. When I was at, I'm not going to say that the haunt, but when I was at a haunt, I heard a lady come up and complain. Maybe a slightly Karen-esque woman coming up to complain that said that she complained because she said, one of those scare actors, I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble, but you needed to tell those scare actors, they jumped up and they were really close. They almost bumped into me. The rule is monsters won't touch you, don't touch them. That's the rule. But, haunted houses, and this is just something to know and keep in mind. When you go into a haunted houses, it is a physical experience. There is definitely going to be unintended consequences. I've been bumped, kicked, whatever, on accident. When someone's jumping around, jumping in your face, closeness is part of the haunt. It's you to think that you will not be brushed up against, that you will not get maybe tapped or bumped or incidental contact. It's going to happen, and there's no way to avoid it. And as long as you are not harmed and hurt, I've never been, like I said, I've been bumped, pushed, kicked, never injured, never hurt, never more than like where I'm still like feeling it once I get outside of the haunt. But just keep that in mind. Like, this is part of the experience. Like, if you don't want this, like, I mean, there is haunts where you can get a totally sanitized experience, but if that's what you want, be aware that the majority of haunted houses are physical experiences. And no, they're not going to they shouldn't grab you or pull you or push you unless that's the rules of the haunt. And I actually have found those haunts are actually a lot of fun. I went to Eastern State Penitentiary, where they have the option to have them push and pull you, and it actually adds a lot. And they do it in like a safe way where they're not harming you. So yes, actors should not hit you, harm you, but incidental content when someone's jumping around, jumping out, and scaring, running past you. Things happen, and it's as long as you're not injured, as long as you're not hurt, no harm, no foul. I just want, I don't know. I just want people to. I just kind of the comment rubbed me the wrong way when I saw the woman complaining that, and you get complaints like that make them pull back what they're doing, pull back on their art form. I don't think being brushed against or bumped into is much of an issue at all. I'm just go on the record saying it's a physical experience. So I think, that's, I guess, the thing I hate about Halloween is when patrons to haunted attractions are disrespectful to the house, to the actors, to the haunters. So please be responsible, have fun, most of all. Like I said, the laughing isn't a big deal because they're getting a reaction out of you. If they're getting a reaction out of you, then they're doing their job. And just don't be a jerk, for the love of all that is holy. Don't be a jerk in a haunted house. It's like think of it like this. You're going to a play, a theater, a highly interactive play that you get to be a part in. So respect your fellow actors. One more thing I wanted to mention. I made some comments about kids vaping the fog in haunted houses and theme parks. And then some people were commenting that it's okay to vape the fog because it's meant to be breathed in, which I guess is a fair enough point. It's in the air. It is to be breathed. But I've seen they have the big fog cannons on the ground. And I see people put their faces in them, but blah, 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 and then they come up and then blow out huge clouds of fog. I guess. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a good idea to me, but honestly, I don't have the science to back it up. So I guess I shouldn't say kids don't vape the fog, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe I should say kids shouldn't vape. Maybe, I don't know. I'll mind my own business on this one, I guess. Be safe. Be safe. Take care of your health. Make educated decisions to the best of your ability. What next? I gotta leave. What time is it? Oh man. I should probably already have left. We are headed to the Salem area. I got at least 2 more haunts planned for the Halloween season. 2 haunts that I've been looking forward to experiencing for a long time. And I hope you guys will follow me on that journey. Jen's coming with me on this one, doing my birthday trip in the Salem area. Again, bucket list item, Salem on Halloween. I think it's for, I don't know, this, I always thought it was cool that this year I got to go to Punxsutawney for Groundhog's Day, and I'm going to be in Salem on Halloween. It's going to be ground zero on the holidays. I don't know, what's ground zero for Thanksgiving? What's ground zero for Christmas? Maybe I need to work on that. Maybe I'll be next year I'll go to Plymouth Rock on Thanksgiving and Bethlehem on Christmas. I don't know, we'll work on that one. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching these videos. Much more to come from that long road that won't be so lonesome on this trip because Jen's going to be riding with me. And stay tuned. A lot of fun coming down the tube. But if you like these videos, please subscribe. I travel around the country from roadside attractions, amusement parks, museums, haunted houses, and other fun, random stuff. If you'd like to help contribute to the channel, consider contributing to Patreon. $3 or more, get you a postcard once a month from me to you. If you're interested in stuff in the Etsy shop, enamel pins, pennies, stickers, hang on for just a little bit. I'm going to put the shop in vacation mode because Jen's coming with me. I'll release it probably in about a week. I will release it, open it back up. At that time, everything should be good to go so that we can get the orders sent out when we get back from Salem. What else? Oh yeah, cameos. you're interested in cameos, interested in receiving a message from me, to you, to a friend, to a family member, all the information for that is in the description of this video, and all those things go to help keeping this crazy train on the track, this haunted ship on the sea, and this dirigible from hell in the air. Until next time, my friends, this one's in the bag.